What'd you say?
So happy belated birthday.
Toda, appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I'm getting up there.
Yeah, he knocking on heaven's door.
All my warriors, stand up. Put your battle armor on. We fought spiritual wars. Then we fought physical wars. Y'all don't deal with no cowards. Hey. We can't be defeated, let them know from the door. We won a lot of battles, but there's more in store. If you're gonna be a soldier, know what you're fighting for. We the battle axes, Yah's weapons of war. We can't be defeated, let them know from the door. We won a lot of battles, but there's more in store. If you're gonna be a soldier, know what you're fighting for. We the battle axes, Yah's weapons of war. Before you go to battle, you should know what you up against. When Yah sends his army on a mission, it ain't no defense. Have the latest weapons up, go and learn Kung Fu, or you can read The Art of War, written by Sun Tzu. You gon' need all of the above when we come through. When Yah sends the order out, where you gon' run to? Sword drawn, off with your head like a guillotine. You read what we did to the Canaanites and Philistines. Can't be defeated, let them know from the door. We won a lot of battles, but there's more in store. If you're gonna be a soldier, know what you're fighting for. We the battle axes, Yah's weapons.
All right. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome again to another episode of Studying Scriptures with Haki Shlomo and Koti Greer
Shabbat shalom, family.
and all of our live participants, family.
Y'all know them by now. Y'all know the ones.
Okay. So everybody had a blessed week so far? We need to pull together the prayer committee for anybody. We always pray for y'all, and y'all say y'all praying for us, so I appreciate that. But any special prayers need to go out? Let us know.
Yes, I asked for prayer for my family. My aunt is in the hospital, and my nephew called me today to let me know that she's brain dead. So they didn't give her but the weekend. So yeah, I asked that you keep my family in prayer, because we've been losing people back to back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Whoa. Wow. Yes, absolutely. We'll keep her in prayer.
Yes.
It
It was somebody else too. Somebody else earlier in the chat was saying that they was requesting prayer because
Shabbat Shalom, family.
Shabbat
Koti Celeste.
Yes, ma'am.
I will just ask everyone to continue to pray for my mom. I do appreciate all the prayers from earlier this week. She is still in the hospital, but she is doing much better. But they do still have her there because they cannot figure out why she's continuing to build up fluid in her lungs. And so they're giving her medication to help her release it, but she's continuing to build up fluid in her lungs. So if you would just continue to keep her in your prayers as well.
Yes, ma'am. Will do.
Toda.
Absolutely. Anybody else? Hey, we are living in some crazy times. And definitely praying that God's hand is on the doctors, and that he guides the doctors and the staff and everybody with those hospital staff. Yeah, praying for the family as well. Hey, absolutely. Okay, so we are picking up this week in Joshua 13. Joshua or Yahusha, chapter 13. And I think Koti Greer, you're leading us off today.
All righty. All right. And Yahusha was old, advanced in years, and Yahuah said to him, "You are old and advanced in years, and still much of the land remains to be possessed. This is the land that remains, all the district of the Philistines and all the Gushites, from Shohar, which is in front of Mitzrayim, and up to the border of Ephron northward, are considered as Canaanites. And 5 princes of the Philistines, the Ashtites, and the Ashdites, and the Ishquelites, and the Gigatites, and the Ekronites. I am brutalizing this.
No, it's good.
Also the Awites.
But the thing to note there is, although we looking at these different break off tribes, they're all Philistines. Just like when we were talking about in the priesthood study, the different women that Esau married, they were break off tribes, but they were still Canaanites, right? So even within each of those, they still had break off tribes.
And okay, on the south, all the land of the Canaanites and the Merar that belongs to the Zidonites, the Zidonians, as far as Akpak to the borders of the Amorites, and the land of the Gebulites, and all Lebanon toward the sunrise, from Baal Gad below Mount Hermon, as far as the entrance of Hamath. Now, real quick, because I know we read that, and so from Baal Gad below Mount Hermon, we read that, and the scriptures don't really like stop and just point out what that area is. But that area, you know, Mount Hermon was the mountain that the angels landed on, the fallen landed on, and they set up shop. So to this day, like if you Googled or just like did a few YouTube video searches, there's a UN building sitting on the top of that mountain.
Ain't that something?
And the mountain it's not like one of the mountains that you can like just freely climb or whatever may have you. You know what I'm saying? Some people are allowed on this, you know, some wealthy people, they have like a hunting lodge up there, and they let you know, wealthy people can go up there and ski, you know, certain people, you know. But Baal Gad, what do we know about Baal Gad? The Lord God, what do we know about that? You know what I'm saying? So that is an area that belong to the God, that belong to the guys that Abiyah is saying, nah, that's my people area, you know. As far as the entrance of Hamath, all the inhabitants of the mountain from Lebanon, as far as Mishrapoth, Maim, and all the Zidonians, I myself drive them out from before the children of Israel, only divided by the lot to Israel as an inheritance, as I have commanded you. And now divide this land as an inheritance to the 9 tribes, and have the tribe of Manasseh. With them, the other half tribe, the Reubenites, the Gadites, received their inheritance, which Moses had given them beyond the Yarden eastward, as Moses, the servant of Yahuah, had given them. From Orar, which is on the bank of the Wadi Arnon, and the city that is in the middle of the Wadi, and all the plain of Mayadiba, as far as the Ban, and all the cities of Shihon, sovereign of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon, as far as the border of the children of Ammon, and Gilead, and the border of the Gershurites, and of the Machishites, and all Mount Hermon, and all Bashan, as far as Saki. All the reign of Og is in Bashan, who reigned in Ashtaroth, and Adri, who remained of the remnant of the Rephaites, the Nephilim. So this is Og's place. Bashan was where the king of Og reigned from, and for a while he was, you know what I'm saying, he was the most powerful thing after the flood, you know what I mean?
13.
However, the children of Israel did not drive out the Gershites, nor the Maccathites. So the Gershites and the Maccathites dwell in the midst of Israel to this day. Now think about that, y'all. Think this is a some kind of Nephilim race of people that dwell in the midst of Israel to this day. I'm gonna tell you about something in a minute. Hold on.
14.
Okay. Only to the tribe of Levi he had given no inheritance. The offerings made by fire to Yahuah, power of Israel, were their inheritance, as he had said to them. And Moses gave to the tribe of the children of Reuben for their clans, and their border was from Aror, which is on the bank of the Wadi, Arnon, and the city that is in the middle of the Wadi, and all the plain by Medeba, Heshbon, and all its cities that are in the plain, Debon, Bamoth Baal, and Beth Baal Moon, and Yatzah, and Quidimoth, and Methhath, and Kiryathim, and Sibmah, and Sureth Sharur on the mountain of the valley, and Beth Peor, and the slopes of Pisgah, and Beth Yishma, and all the cities of the plain, and all the reign of Shihon, sovereign of the Amorites, who reigned in Eshbon, whom Moses had stricken with the princes of Midian, Eagle, and Requam, and Zor, and Hor, and Reba, princes of Sihon, dwelling in the land. And the sons of Israel killed with the sword Balaam, son of Beor, the diviner, among those who were killed by them. And the border of the children of Reuben was the bank of the Yarden. This was the inheritance of the children of Reuben for their clans, the cities of their villages. So okay, real quick. Sorry, y'all. Because of the way it's worded, because when this was given to Yahusha, or the way in which the scribe wrote this, Yahusha was also a scribe. So the way in which he wrote this, it's kind of, without details, it's hard to realize how important it is what he's saying. But the fact that he mentioned the death of Balaam, the diviner, and so these were important events. You know what I'm saying? The fact that it was mentioned in this rundown to be remembered throughout all times. So details is something that don't necessarily survive time. You understand? So the details, you know, they say the devil is in the details, you know what I'm saying? Details don't always survive time, but just fact does. And so he's just giving us the fact that all these places that he's naming is very important. And even the events that he's naming is very important. So it's repeated because it's important that we remember it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's relevant.
It's also interesting to note that some of these places they've already come through more than once. Remember, they wandered 40 years in the wilderness. And so some of these places and some of these people they've come in contact with while Moses was governing and was the general over them. But most of these places are places inhabited by the Philistines and bordered by the Canaanites. It's also interesting to note that several of these places are named technically after the deities that they were worshiping, which is another reason why, you know, we like to emphasize that what Yah was doing with Israel in this time, and if we look at this as any kind of way foreshadowing what's going to happen in the future, is he was actually using Israel as his army to clear this wickedness out, to set this land apart. And so these people had to be routed out. When it says that, and I was trying not to interrupt, but when it says that they let some of these people remain, it doesn't go so much into detail here. But you read the historical accounts from Josephus, some of these people made deals with Joshua and his people, and some of them tricked Joshua and his people because they
Mhm.
what happened was they ran off and pretended like they were a different people
Mhm.
and that they were just happening upon the events that were happening when they were told to kill everybody. And they were like, no, we're not them. We just coming through. But I mean, we recognize your authority.
Mhm.
You know, you obviously in control. We'll just serve you. And not knowing that they were the people that
Yep.
Joshua was told to kill, he
Mhm.
made an agreement with them. He made a covenant with them to let them live. We read about it here as well. We read about it a little bit, but yeah, those people remained servants all the way up through the days that David was in power.
Mhm.
Those people were still, and their descendants were still servants. So even David and everybody after Joshua still respected that covenant, but they were supposed to go.
Mhm.
They're supposed to be routed out. They wound up helping build the temple during the days of King Solomon.
Sure did. King Solomon ruled over them.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I was saying I was gonna tell y'all. So y'all remember me telling y'all about the Basque people? Thoughts Cameron actually did a really good breakdown on them, but they're a group of people that dwell around in Turkey, in that area, you know, around that area. And they don't keep it a secret that they're not human. Like when they talk to people, you know, when they talk amongst each other, you know, they say stuff like, yeah, he got into a dispute with the human, you know. So on Netflix the other day, and stumbled on a little movie, what I thought was a little love story. And it was a love story, but it was a love story about, yeah, like, you know, modern day boss.
That's how they do. Yeah.
Modern day boss people. And these are snake people. Like snake people with that shed that go through. Now, I don't know if, you know.
The actual people shed.
Okay. I don't know that. I don't know if, you know, the movie took liberties. You know what I'm saying? But like the males and the female, I think at some point they go through this thing where they had to be separated so that they can shed their skin.
Yeah.
Like they, you know, and it's some kind of I don't know. Yeah. So but I'm wondering if this was one of them groups that Abiyah told them at one point in time to destroy.
Yeah.
And they ended because they in that area, you know what I'm saying? But anyway.
What was interesting to me about it when she told me about it though, was that they embraced this aspect of them not being human or 100% human. And they perceive it to be a good thing. Whereas, you know, listening to that from the perspective of our standpoint as being Israelites, you listening to them talking and it takes on a whole different connotation. People that are of the world who don't have a worldview that is the same as us who say we are Israelites hear that and don't really make the connection. But as an Israelite, you listen to people talking and, you know, if you take them at what they're saying, it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, maybe you exactly what you say you are.
And the crazy thing is in the movie, so these people, they got different government and everything. Like they have a king, and their king communicate to the government of Turkey on their behalf. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's not like a thing in which, you know, the government of Turkey, you know what I'm saying, got say over them. Right. Up in them mountains where they are, no, they got a king. You know what I'm saying? And so in the movie, the king was talking to one of the government officials or whatever, and he was just saying, like, you know, how the problem is, you know, the humans really think that this earth is theirs. Right. You know, and then the official was saying something like, well, I mean, it is. I mean, technically, it was created for them. And the king was kind of like, was it though? Was it?
Sound like the Garden of Eden all over.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it's time for us to come out the shadow and claim our stake. This our earth too. You know what I'm saying? This world is ours too, you know.
Yeah, sound about right.
Crazy.
Sound about right.
Since I don't know exactly what mountain it is they in, I just know that they it's somewhere in Turkey.
Somewhere in Turkey.
It's somewhere in Turkey. If I find that that documentary, that breakdown, that a little mini lesson Thoughts Came to Action did, I'll post it in the group for y'all later. I'll look for it after this. It's deep.
Those kind of actually putting some extra stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because, like, you know, but I had heard of the Bosque people before he did something, but I guess I kind of thought maybe it was just, you know, fantasy. You know, I heard somebody talking about them, like how they got superpowers and stuff, and I'm just like, okay, you know. But then when he did that documentary and like they interviewed some of them, like, you know, modern day Bosque people, I'm like, oh wow, yeah, they different. They different. It's just some, you know, some of them have slits in their eyes and everything. Yeah. You know, Bosque. It's like, it's spelled like
BASQUE.
Yeah. Bosque. Yeah. Like
BASQUE.
Yeah, something like that. If I'm pronouncing it right, I'm gonna find a documentary. I mean, I'm gonna find that little lesson and I'm gonna post it in the group for y'all. I may not even be pronouncing it right. Okay, here we go. So Moses gave.
Verse, I'm sorry.
I think I'm on 24.
24.
And Moses gave the tribe of Gad to the children of Gad for their clans. And their border was Yazir and all the cities of Gilead, and half the land of the children of Ammon, as far as Aurora, which is before Rabbah.
I'm sorry. And Moses gave to the tribe of Gad, to the children of Gad for their clans.
I think we was talking about, and the border of the children of Reuben was the bank of the Yarden. This was the inheritance of the children of Reuben for their clans, the cities of their villages. And Moses gave to the tribe of Gad, to the children of Gad for their clans. Yes, and their border was Yazir and all the cities of Gilead, and half the land of the children of Ammon, as far as Aurora, which is before Rabbah, and from Heshbon to Ramoth, Mitzvah, and Batanim, and from Mahanaim to the border of Debir, and in the valley of Beth Harum, and Beth Nimrah, and Succoth, and Sabon, and the rest of the reign of Sihon, sovereign of Heshbon, the Yarden being its border, as far as the edge of the Sea of Kinnereth, beyond the Yarden eastward. This is the inheritance of the children of Gad for their clans, the cities of their villages. And Moses gave to half the tribe of Manasseh, and it was for half the tribe of the children of Manasseh for their clans. And their border was from Mihanim, all Bashan, all the reign of Og, sovereign of Bashan, and all the small towns of Yair, which was in Bashan, 60 cities. So Bashan, Og reigned over 60 cities. So Bashan wasn't no little place. Like none of these, like this is a great big area he talking about. And half of Gilead and Ashtaroth and Adri, cities of the reign of Og and Bashan, were for the children of Machir, son of Manasseh, to half the children of Machir for their clans. These Moses gave as an inheritance in the desert plains of Moab, beyond the Yarden by Jericho, eastward. But to the tribe of Levi, Moses gave no inheritance. Yahuah, power of Israel, he was their inheritance, as he had said to them.
Let's kind of affirming what we talked about last week as far as the tribe of Levi and why they received tithes, because their inheritance was Yah and the duty of the temple, and so that's why they got tithes. And to give a tenth of that to the Most High as well. Get him, take him to the laundry room. Sorry if my dog got a hold of something that he trying to get rid of.
Eli, help him. He throwing up now? What did he swallow?
Something. Yeah,
Probably like a whole shoe, that dog there.
Amalekites who King Saul didn't kill and started more trouble for our nation in this day when they were supposed to be blotted out.
Mhm, mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Verse 14. Now these the children of Israel inherited in the land of Canaan, which Eleazar the priest and Yahusha son of Nun and the heads of the fathers of tribes of the children of Israel caused them to inherit it. So now we just finished reading the places that were still left to be secured. Is that correct?
Mhm.
And now these are the places that they did secure. Their inheritance was by lot, as Yahuah had commanded by the hand of Moses, for the 9 tribes and the half tribe. For Moses had given the inheritance of the 2 tribes and the half tribe beyond the Jordan. But to the Levites he had given no inheritance in their midst. For the children of Joseph or Yosef had become 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim. And they gave no part to the Levites in the land except cities to dwell in, with their open land for their livestock and their possessions. And Yahuah had commanded Moses, so the children of Israel did. As Yahuah had commanded Moses, so the children of Israel did. And they divided the land. And the children of Yehudah came to Yahusha in Gilgal, and Caleb, son of Zephunneh, the Kenizzite, said to him, you know the word which Yahuah has said to Moses, the man of Elohim, concerning you and me in Kadesh Barnea. Now, what did we understand Caleb to be,
Caleb was
nationality-wise? Elder pointed this out to me.
I guess I always thought he
I
was
did too.
Judah.
I thought he was from the tribe of Judah as
Yeah.
well. He was not. I'm gonna see if I grab this real quick. Give me 1 second. Says he was a Kenizzite.
Who
And
they?
I can't remember offhand, but this was pointed out to me in 2022, last year, and I missed this. So what was that? Joshua 14 and 6.
Mhm.
Kenizzite, patronymic from H7073, Kenizzite or descendant of Kenaz. He was from descendant of Kenaz.
Wow.
Yep. Edomite
He said,
and 2 Israelites.
Yeah.
So Kenaz, let me see if I got a cross reference here.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Is that it?
Over here.
That's what we just read. No, that's coming up.
It says so. Oh, that's coming up.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's coming up.
Numbers.
Let's go to Numbers. Caleb, son of Zephunneh, the Kenizzite. Zephunneh. Okay, I'm not going to spend too much time on that. So, but Caleb was a son of Kenaz, or son of Zephunneh, who was a son of Kenaz. I would have to look deeper into that because I can't remember Kenaz's lineage.
It sounded from that one that we getting ready to read shortly. You getting ready to read it.
Yeah. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, keep reading because it sounds like it sounds fine itself.
But yeah, for some reason, in my reading through this the first time, I don't know why I thought Caleb was of the tribe of Judah, but he's not. So let's read it.
Now Yahusha knows from Judah, right?
I remember now. Yeah, so Joshua was from the tribe of Ephraim. Okay, picking up in 6, I'm still in 6. You know the word which Yahuah said to Moses, the man of Elohim, concerning you and me in Kadesh Barnea. I was 40 years old when Moses, the servant of Yahuah, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to spy out the land. And I brought back word to him as it was in my heart. But my brothers who went up with me made the heart of the people melt, but I followed Yahuah, my Elohim, completely. So Moses swore on that day, saying, the land on which your foot has trodden is your inheritance, and your children's inheritance forever, because you have followed Yahuah, my Elohim, completely. And now, see, Yahuah has kept me alive, and he has, as he said, these 45 years since Yahuah spoke this word to Moses while Israel walked in the wilderness. So Caleb at this point is how old? You're talking about 85 years old.
So it's been 45 years since Moses died at this point?
45 years since that incident.
Mm.
And now, see, I am 85 years old today, yet I am still as strong today as I was on the day that Moses sent me. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we were just talking about earlier. My man said, I'm as strong today at 85 as I was at 40.
Yes.
As my strength was then, so my strength is now for battle and for going out and for coming in. And now, give me this mountain of which Yahuah spoke in that day, for you heard in that day how the Anakim were there, and that the cities were great and walled. And if Yahuah is with me, then I shall dispossess them, as Yahuah said. At 85, what he's saying is, and I know this opened up. Rib started reading in 13 and said, Yahusha was old, advanced in years. And Yahuah said to him, you are old, advanced in years, and still much of the land remains to be possessed. Right. So we take that to mean they finna slow down. Nah. But Joshua and Caleb ain't far apart in age. And what Caleb is saying is that same mountain that Yah said I could have through Moses, I'm ready for my people to take it. And I know you know, and I know that it's still Nephilim there, but I'm finna go in there and boot them out. Yeah, they got to go.
They got to go.
And I'm strong enough to take care of it. So if you second guessing this, because for some reason you think I can't handle it, no, I got it.
Yeah, Caleb was the one, not to say Yahusha wasn't about it, but Caleb was like, his boy had his back. He like, man, when we roll, what we doing?
Yep. Okay. Yahusha then blessed him. He said, you got it, bro, whatever you need. And gave Hebron to Caleb, son of Zephaniah, as an inheritance. So Hebron became the inheritance of Caleb, son of Zephaniah, the Kenizzite, to this day, because he followed Yahuah Elohim of Israel completely. Now the name of Hebron was formerly Kiriath Arba. Arba was the greatest man among the Anakim. They changed that. And the land had rest from fighting. Wow. So he took the land, changed the name, say we ain't calling it after that no more. It's now called Hebron.
And you know the Anakim boys, remember we told you about Anuk? Yep. The sons of Anuk, the Anakim.
There's so much confirmation in this reading when you read it straight through. There's so much confirmation of what happened in Genesis 6 that if you read it all in context, you can't refute that. And so, you know, I find it sad that you got people that say that what happened didn't happen.
I know.
In some way.
I know. Can you imagine what the world looked like then? Like they was defeating monsters. You understand what I'm saying? monsters. They was taking down monsters. Man,
It's got about 32 and 32.
okay.
Yeah, there's something else.
Okay, so picking up at 15. And the lot of the tribe of the children of Yehudah, for their clans was to the border of Edom, the wilderness of Sin, southward to the extreme south. And their southern border began at the edge of the Salt Sea, from the bay that faces southward. And it went out to the southern side of the accent of Akrabim, passed over to the Sin, and went up on the south side of Kadesh Barnea, and passed over to Hezron, went up to Adar, and went around to Karkwa, and passed over to Asmon, and went out to the Wadi of Mizraim, and the border ended at the sea. This is your southern border. And the east border was the Salt Sea, as far as the end of the Yarden, and the border of the northern quarter began at the bay of the sea at the end of the Yarden.
Not real quick, I'm sorry. Don't mean to interrupt. We're talking about here the borders that they captured, conquered, booted people out, and resided in. We're not talking about here the borders that were promised to Abraham and his descendants. Now, the reason I want to make sure that we make that distinction is because some people say that the area we look at on the map and identify as Israel is so small and this couldn't be the place and all of that. What you're looking at today on a map is not the entirety of what was promised. As a matter of fact, even what King David and King Solomon acquired and secured was not the entirety of what was promised or prophesied. So those are two different things. We got to keep that in mind. All right. Have to make that distinction so you don't get confused.
What did Abiyah tell Abraham from basically from that body of water next to Israel that you all see on the map, all the way to the
Euphrates.
The Euphrates. Okay. So what are they from? 7? I think 6. And the border went up to Beth Hoglah and passed over north of Beth Araba. And the border went up to the stone of Bohan, son of Reuben. And the border went up toward Debir from the valley of Achor, and it turned northward toward Gilgal, which is before the accent of the Adamin, which is south of the Wadi. And the border passed over the waters of En Shemesh and ended at En Rogel. And the border went up by the valley of the son of Hinnom to the southern slope of the Jebusites, city that is Jerusalem. And the border went up to the top of the mountain that lies before the valley of Hinnom westward, which is at the end of the valley of Rephaim northward. And the border went around from the top of the hill to the fountain of the water of Nebatua, and went up to the cities of Mount Ephraim. And the border went around Baalah, that is Kiriath Yarim, and the border turned around from Baalah westward to Mount Seir, and passed over to the side of Mount Yarim on the north, that is Kisalon, and went down to Beth Shemesh and passed over to Timnah. And the border went out to the side of Ekron northward, and the border went around to Shekron and passed over to Mount Baalah, and went out to Yabneel, and the border ended at the sea. And the west border was the coastline of the Great Sea. This is in the boundary of the children of Yehudah, all around their clans. And to Caleb, son of Yephneh, he had given the portion in the midst of the children of Yehuda. That's why we always thought he was from Yehuda,
Mhm.
because his inheritance was with the Yehudim.
Mhm.
According to the mouth of Yah.
Dropped our signal. Okay, hallelujah. All right.
Okay. According to the mouth of Yahuah, to Yahusha. Koreath Arba, that is Hebron. Arba was the father of Anak.
Mm.
And Caleb drove out 3 sons of Anak from there, Shisha and Haman and Talmah, the children of Anak.
Mm.
Wow, that's something, y'all. That's a great big deal. And he went up from there to the inhabitants of Debir, and the name of Debir formerly was Kiriath Sephar. And Caleb said, he who strikes Kiriath Sephar and shall capture it, to him I shall give Aksa, my daughter, as a wife. And Othniel, son of Koinez, the brother of Caleb, did capture it. So he gave him Aksa, his daughter, as a wife. And it came to be when she came to him that she persuaded him to ask her father for a field. And when she got off from the donkey, Caleb said to her, what is the matter? And she said, give me a blessing. Since you have given me land in the south, give me also fountains of water. And he gave her the upper fountains and the lower fountains. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Yehuda for their clans. And the cities of the furthest border of the tribe of the children of Yehuda toward the border of Edom in the south were Capseel and Edar and Ugar and Kina and Debna and Abdada and Kadesh and Hatzor and Yitanin and Zeph and Telim and Bealeth and Hatzor and Hadat and Koriath and Hatzron, that is Hatzor, Ammon and Shema and Molada and Hatzor, Gada and Hishman and Beth Palet and Hatzor Sheol and Beersheba and Beersheba. Oh, and this Yothya and Baal La and Ayim and Etzim and Etholad and Kizo and Harma and Zilak and Madmana and Santana and Leboeth and Shelahim and Ayin and Rimna. All the cities were 29 with their villages.
That's tough. It's tough. But the cool thing about this, fam, is like so in the back of these scriptures translations, you got some maps. You got Bible maps and stuff like that. So you can kind of get a sense of where these areas are. And even though these maps don't get in a whole lot of detail, in your eSword, if you've downloaded your eSword, you can download biblical maps. And then there's other references, just general Google searches, biblical maps and stuff like that. And you can kind of see what these borders are and get a better idea of, you know, what's taking place here. It's a tough read, but it kind of draws you in a little bit more when you can actually look at it and visualize it and make the connection, right? Okay.
And then if you remember, like remember I told you, like, just try to memorize some of these names. If you remember from previous events, what happened, and they give you like a brief rundown of what's what, you know.
Picking up from 33. In the low country, Eshtaol and Zoar and Ashna and Zanawa and En Gamin or Ganim, Zapawa and Inam, Yarmuth and Adulam, Soko and Azekah, and Shalaim and Adithaim and Gedara and Gedor Thaim, 14 cities with their villages. Sinan and Hadash or Hadashah, and Migdal Gad, and Delan, and Mitzveth, and Yokthel. Lachish is significant. Batzkath, and Eglon, and Kabon, and Lahamam, and Kithlish, and Gedorath, Beth Dagon or Dagon, Beth Dagon, and Naamah, and Makeda, 16 cities with their
What
villages.
does Beth means again? Bread.
Beth is second, I want to say. Is Beth second or first? I think it's second. Libnah, 42, and Ether, and Ashan, and Yiftah, Ashna, Netzib, Kila, Akzib, Marishah, 9 cities with their villages. Ekron with its towns and its villages. From Ekron to the sea, all that were by the side of Ashdod with their villages. Ashdod, its towns and its villages. Azah, its towns and its villages, as far as the Wadi of Mitzrayim and the Great Sea with its coastline. And in the mountain country, Shamur and Yatir and Sukkot. Turn 2 pages instead of 1. Give me a second. And Dana or Dana and Kiryat Sanah, that is the beer, and Anab and Eshtemo and Anim and Goshen and Holon and Gilo, 11 cities with their villages. Arab and Duma and Ishan and Yanim and Beth Zapua and Apika and Humta and Kira Arba, that is Hebron, and Seor, 9 cities with their villages. Maon, Carmel, and Zippah, and Utah, and Yisrael, and Yokdeam, and Zanoah, Cain, Geba, and Timnah, 10 cities with their villages. Halul, Beth Zur, and Gedor, and Ma'arath, and Beth Anath, and El-Tekan, 6 cities with their villages. Kiryath Baal, that is Kiryath Yearim, and Rabbah, 2 cities in their villages. In the wilderness, Beth Arabah, Midim, and Sekaka, and Nibshan, and the city of salt, and En Gedi, 6 cities with their villages. As for the Jebusites or the Jebusites, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the children of Yehudah were unable to drive them out. So the Jebusites have dwelt within the children of Yehudah at Jerusalem to this day.
Wow.
It's a tough read, fam. That reminds me of reading through all them names in Genesis 10.
So the Jebusites, Yehudah could never drive away.
Yeah.
And they've been there to this day.
And the thing is, like, what you start to realize when you start reading through the history, not just the scriptures, when you start reading through the history, is that Yah don't change, right? So when Yah sends some people to do something and they're not quite able to complete the tasks, it's usually because they're doing something they're not supposed to do, or they haven't done completely what Yah said to do. So this is now a plague on them because they didn't do it the way he said, or didn't complete it the way he said. Some variation, if that makes sense.
Mm.
And that's what I get from reading through this same instance in Josephus.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it's something else. So yeah, I know that was kind of a tedious read through, fam, but you know, for somebody who's looking to verify geography, perhaps, or for someone who's looking to verify who these people were by maybe even the names of the places, and also identify, you know, some of what was going on by the deities they worshiped. You know, we just read about another one that jumped out to me was Dagon.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
these aren't arbitrary names,
Nope.
right? And so for someone who's doing a deep dig or a deep dive on that type of stuff, this is gold,
Yeah, it
right?
is.
I know we just reading through this, but somebody who's digging, this is a gold mine right here.
To break that down, get your
Yeah.
highlighter and your notes and dig on these individuals' places, find out who they were, who the people were,
Right.
especially the ones would we say that we never were able to drive them out, and so they still amongst us to this day. Oh, this is important.
Right.
I think Coach Antoinette had her hand up.
Come on up to the mic, Coach.
I think it's Dogon or the Dagon. Isn't that an African tribe?
There is a Dogon tribe. Yes, ma'am. It sure is.
Wow.
Sure is.
And actually they were able to they spot that a star that most people you can't even see with a telescope, but they know where that star is, that planet or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what it made me think about when I saw that the day.
They call it the dog star. Mm.
Are you familiar with that, Coach? Them referring to that star as a dog star? We talked about
Yes, it's called the dog star.
yeah, Sirius.
Serious. Mhm.
Yeah, Sirius. And you know, Siri is you know, that's who you talk to on your phone, right?
Mhm.
I don't, but yeah,
And
that's
you got Sirius radio.
that's
You
right.
know, I like to find out what's the dynamics of that name. I don't even want to say it because as soon as you say it, my TVs go crazy. The ALEXA name. Did she come on?
I try to kick all that stuff off my technology, but a lot of it you can't these
You can't
days.
even get rid of it. You can't even get rid of it. But I was thinking about that the other day when I was asking her how to spell a word. I was writing. It was I needed help. I was having one of the brain farts. And I'm like, I wonder what that name mean because we know about the series one and you called out, you know, they had you call out that name.
Okay.
But I wonder what's the science to that name.
Okay.
Coach Latasha?
No, I was going to say, and Coach Antoinette, Dagon, they had a Netflix series about them too, but it wasn't about an African tribe. It was like a TV show, and the tribe was of European background on Netflix. It was and they was dragons.
Wow.
Yep.
Yes. That makes sense. Wow. Yeah, that remind me of these snake people, the boss, these. Let me see. I'm gonna see if I can find that documentary. I'm gonna find that tonight for y'all. And post it in that group. These snake people, they got scales. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some of them have full-blown scales. This is real. Anybody else have any questions? Anybody?
Is my phone still in the room? Or did he come in the room?
He's still there. Him and Nia still there.
I was looking up when we was talking. I was looking up Caleb, and they were saying that he was Edomitish, like the Jewish. He's Edomitish.
That's what the elder was pointing out to me, I believe, if I remember correctly. Was that Caleb was an Edomite. Yep.
Wow.
And they were saying that his mother though may have came from the tribe of Judah through her father, but her mother was Edomite.
That kind of reminds me of the question you asked the other day, Akosi, though,
Yeah,
about whether or not
yeah,
all of Edom will be done away with, and that kind of leans into my thoughts, and I say my thoughts, but I mean my thoughts based on what I gather in the totality of our reading, which is Yah don't want for anybody to perish. Like he don't want anybody
right.
to perish, but it's about choice. We have free will and we have free choice.
Yeah.
And Caleb went hard for Yah.
Look at the way that's worded. It says that it says, so Hebron became the inheritance of Caleb, son of Yepunah, the Kenizzite, to this day, because he followed Yahuah,
That's right.
power of
That's right.
Israel completely.
That's
I mean,
right.
what do you do with that? What do you like?
Yeah.
I don't care who it is. You know who had the same person? Ruth.
Yep.
Ruth the Moabite.
Yep.
She, one of the reasons she didn't want to leave her mother-in-law was because she said, Yah's my power. Where am I going?
Think about the example of the eunuch. You dealing with someone who is disfigured, and traditionally in our culture, that person don't get to come near Yah, so to speak. Definitely don't come near the temple, but it could be, if you're just dealing with the letter of the law, you could have a situation where people say, Yah is not going to deal with you because you're disfigured. But the eunuch had a heart and a mind to know Yah, and because he did, when he asked, was it Kepha? What prohibits?
Kepha Paul.
I think it was Kepha. What prohibits me from being immersed? There's water there. He said, no, if you believe, nothing. Cain, grafted in. Cain, Koti.
And then, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Coty. No, I was gonna say. Then it was like that movie out, the 300, when they was throwing the disfigured babies off the cliffs because they were saying like God is not going to deal with them. But when you read it and then you look at certain movies and you can pinpoint the things of the scripture, and you like, they took that straight out the scriptures. And because at first I'm like, why would you throw a baby off the cliff if they disfigured? But then when you start reading it and about the uncleanliness of them, then you start understanding the thought process. But like you said, you can go get immersed. He don't want no one to perish.
Right.
I was saying, like in the old and in the new. In the old, when we left Egypt, the stranger, it wasn't just all Israel. It was whoever put the blood, they left. And so they learned the law. They were with us. They had to follow the law. They learned the law, or they had to perish with everybody else. It said everybody in your household had to follow the law. And in order for us to inherit the salvation, all he said is just follow my law. So that's why you can have people who are grafted in. If you're following his law and doing his word, he don't care what you are.
Absolutely.
And that's new and old.
If you love me, keep my command.
Yeah. Look at the story of the Good Samaritan. So let me tell you something, in this world of temptation, if somebody willing to forgo all this temptation to follow Yah's laws, statutes, and commandments, it's because they've been called. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what color they are. I don't care, if you're willing to leave all this temptation behind, this world will offer you anything. You can do anything. This world is wide open, whatever your heart desires. You know what I'm saying? And if somebody is willing to walk away from that and to say, no, I'm not going to eat the bacon wrapped shrimp sauteed by the hands of Jeff Gordon Ramsay.
That's what I meant.
You know what I'm saying? If somebody walk away from that kind of stuff and say, I want to stick to what Abiyah said, that person has been called. Now, whether or not they chosen, I don't know. But I can tell you, if they walk in the walk, they sure been called.
Well, I see this internet connection keeps saying it's unstable. Before we close, I just want to say this too. Number one, fam, we love y'all. I got love for all of y'all. You know, haven't met most of y'all in person at this point in fellowship. You know, I feel like y'all fam. But even if we haven't met, if y'all feel drawn toward, you know, this thing that we're doing, or even if you're just hearing this, you know, I got a warning that I need to say this because I'm looking at this thing spiraling, and it happens in waves. We've seen it happen before, and it seemed like, I don't know, maybe we just removed ourselves from social media for a little bit, and now I'm seeing a rise again. I cannot stress enough that we have to study to show ourselves approved, fam. Because and let me be clear, I'm not saying don't hear somebody out when they saying that they feel like they got something new to add or another piece to this puzzle. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is be studied enough on your own where you can understand whether or not what they're saying has some basis in truth or not, based on your research. The read through that we're doing is because we believe that is very important. After we got through the standard 66, to then start digging into the books that we were told were removed,
and supporting books.
The supporting books came. What was the next step in that? But then, you know, to be able to suss out whether or not they were legitimate or not, based on what we understood in the standard 66. What I really enjoyed about a lot of the books that we had physical copies of was before the reading of those books, like Jubilees, Apocrypha, and stuff like that. There was a nice lengthy history of who wrote the book, when it was written, or if it was multiple authors that collaborated, how it came to be,
how it was taken out of the original script,
how or why it was taken out, when it was found again, yeah, all that type of stuff. And so it helped to just build a database of information. When people started telling me about, you know, the Nazarite Gospels or the Essene Gospels or the Clementine homilies and stuff like that, I don't immediately turn away from those things. I go and research, and because of the other stuff that I've read and the history on it that was so beneficial, I look for the history on those as well. I say, okay, well, where did this come from? How did it come to be? And when I'm reading, you know, and somebody tell me that a book, you know, was something that was just thrown together recently by some recent scholar, but it's contradictory to the historical writings by Israelites or Israel, you know, or whoever, then it's like, I have to be able to put that in its proper place. And I'm saying all that to say, fam, it's a lot of brews that say they know they're brews right now, who are throwing out the whole New Testament right now.
Oh, yes.
Who are throwing out,
and a good portion of the whole.
Yeah, well, you have to yeah, but anyway, who have a problem with Paul, who have a problem with Messiah, and like Rev said, because as Messiah said, the scriptures are written of me, right? That means that we can go to the Old Testament and show Mashiach even in the so-called Old Testament. And so you have to then throw out some of the Old Testament, because you have to say this is not saying what it's saying. You have to say this is not talking about Messiah when it's clearly talking about Messiah.
I heard, I'm not gonna say any names, but I used to chat, you know, from time to time, have a phone conversation with a certain imam. And for her big thing was really getting me to see something that was against the the New Testament.
Mhm.
And we talked for a while. Then she told me that, when I went to show her what Moses
Mhm.
said,
Mhm.
and Moses said,
Right.
she told me, well, it's not beyond Moses to have made a mistake.
Yeah. Yeah, Moses made a mistake. We
I
read
said-
about Moses making a mistake, but goodness, what are you saying? Moses wasn't who y'all say he was?
So when Moses said, "Thus says Yah," so in
Right.
that sense, you saying Yah
Right.
made the mistake here.
And you also saying that you got a
You
better
know
understanding than the
that.
prophets.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. You saying that this modern day prophet, this I'm really not gonna say the name, but
Yeah,
this one from over yonder, he kills me.
you got to figure it out.
Oh my goodness, he look. I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised if in another year or two he Messiah. I wouldn't be surprised. I
No,
wouldn't be surprised.
there's precedent. Number one, we read the writings and the quotes of Hamashiach to say there's going to be many who come to say
Yeah.
that they are, and we see it even now. You
Yeah.
had the cat Ben Ami over
Yeah.
in Demona,
Yeah.
and now who is it now in this place calling himself the Prince? We just seen a short video on that last week.
Yeah. And so I'm seeing, and this is just a theory, but I'm seeing a pattern here.
Yeah.
It's a first to get you to doubt. A few things are said to get you to doubt Messiah, right? Then it's a badgering. It's a showing where Messiah couldn't have done this and couldn't have done that, and virgin birth and all. And then next thing you know, it's okay, let me introduce you. I'm the Messiah.
Yeah. It's I'm gonna get that code to you. What you said, 1 Peter 2:6-10. Yeah, it often seems like it's attack Paul, then attack the New Testament, and then attack Messiah. But there's also, if you guys kind of see the pattern, there's also, Genesis 6 is not saying what it's saying.
Yes.
Is where it usually starts. And then we don't deal with Enoch.
Yes.
And
Joseph
Joseph
was the daddy.
Was this, I don't want to say sperm donor. That's
Right.
not what I mean.
Joseph was the daddy. He did away with her because they had messed up and he was too ashamed to admit they was creeping before. Brother, what did you just say to
but
me?
that's not what it says.
That says that nowhere in the book. So you calling the angel Gabriel a lie who came to Mary? You know what I'm saying? It says not we. I like to, when I say we sin, but this mess here, not we. They.
So that's above and beyond.
No, I'm not standing with that mess. They take a lot of liberties. You take a lot of liberties, you change the scriptures, and what it say? What's the last thing this Bible say to you? The last thing, after all said and done, it say curses is the man who changed any of these writings.
Yep. Cain says, yes. Beautiful, beautiful share. So she posted, who was that? Tania? Shalom, sis, good to see you back again. It says, because it is contained in scripture, see, I lay in Zion a chief cornerstone, chosen, precious, and he, not it, who believes on him, not it, shall by no means be put to shame. And that is a direct quote from Isaiah 28:16. This preciousness then is for you who believe. But to those who are disobedient, the stone which the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone. Again, another quote from the book of Psalms 118:22. a stone of stumbling and a rock that makes for falling. Isaiah 8:14. Who stumble because they are disobedient to the word to which they were also appointed. But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a set apart nation, a people for a possession, that you should proclaim the praises of him, the master. You read about him all throughout Torah.
Who tended to
all
the sick
throughout
tree.
the so-called Old Testament, you read about the master. The praise of him who called you out of darkness into this marvelous light. You don't, and that's the issue. You don't understand the testimony of Messiah when you're saying that, you know, that he's anything other than what he is. You don't realize that it was him. It was him who was doing the will of his father directly in the so-called Old Testament.
Yeah.
That's the key.
You know, when he said the grain of heaven is like a man who owns a vineyard, and in the vineyard is a sick tree. And the husband is the man who tends to the garden.
Yep.
He's not the owner of the garden, but he tends to the garden. He takes care of the garden for the owner. That's the husband. The owner says, cut down a tree. It's sick, get rid of it. But the husband who loves this tree says, hold on.
Let me try to tend to it.
Let me try to tend to it.
Yep.
And when you Xing out the husband.
Yep. 100%. Coach Natasha.
No, I was going to say with the Messiah, some that actually do believe in the Messiah, they say that because the woman can't carry the seed, which it actually says in Genesis that the serpent was going to, the woman's seed and the serpent was going to fight until the end of time. So I don't know how they got that from the woman can't carry the seed, but they concept is that the woman can't carry the seed, so therefore Joseph is the father, because where else would it come from? And so I always and I always go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm gonna say when you finish.
Yeah, so but I always ask, so if you believe in a Messiah, how can you not understand the power that he came from? You can't say you believe in the Messiah, but then you say that you don't believe the way that he was conceived and developed and brought into this world for you. So it don't coincide.
Yeah, to say, listen, Isaiah 8:20 says, to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to these, because they have no daybreak. The testimony is the witness. Is the testimony of Messiah. So if the testimony that you believe in about who you say is the Messiah is not the testimony of the Messiah, it by definition is anti-Messiah. And so here's the scary truth. There are a lot of people in this walk who say they are messianic, who say they believe in Messiah, but by the nature of the words that they tell you, prove themselves to be non-messianic. What I have witnessed, and I'm just speaking for myself and Rib, what I have witnessed is I have witnessed people say they believe in the Messiah and not realize that they are non-messianic. But because we understand Messiah and his testimony, it becomes revealed later on. And so I've literally said about people, they're non-messianic. Even though they're saying they believe in Messiah, and 6 months later, somebody's saying, oh, you know, they don't believe in Messiah no more. I'm like, no, they never believed in Messiah.
That same Iman, when the one time I talked to her and I had her on speakerphone, and he was, listening in the background, and he must have listened for about maybe 5 or 6 minutes before he was like, she's not messianic. She don't believe in Messiah. You know, and although she was saying Messiah, and you know, it's like a thing in which, in order to lure the sheep, you gotta say you love the shepherd.
Right.
You know what I'm
Ain't
saying?
that something? Oh,
You
ain't
gotta
that snaky?
Yeah, very. You gotta say you love the shepherd because the sheep love their shepherd. You understand what I'm saying? The sheep is loyal to their shepherd. So if your goal is to lure the sheep away from the shepherd, but you know, you gotta say you love the shepherd. Oh, I love the shepherd. Well, this is my shepherd too. That's the only way you're gonna get the sheep to let down their guard and feel comfortable around you. But you can only be around the sheep for so long until they realize you don't love my shepherd.
Okay.
You ain't one of us.
Okay.
Kane. And
Go
then
ahead.
you go back. It's so tiring because it's like, for me, a couple, they told me I give them a headache because it's like, you keep trying to argue back and forth. It's my cousin and her husband, because they with one of the camps, the ice pick. I think that's what they call it, the ice pick. It's I call them ice pick.
I know you're talking about.
But I'm trying to explain to them, y'all can't say that you believe in the Messiah and then you don't believe in his birth.
Right.
You can't say that. You can't. You don't believe in him.
That's
And
not his testimony. Yeah.
that's not his testimony.
You give more power to Adam and Eve.
Them specifically, let me be clear from what I gather. So that's my pre-qualifier. From what I gather, they give more power to math and science, like 5%ers, than to Yahuah. And it's in the name of their camp, universal practical knowledge. In other words, we don't believe in nothing spooky.
No magic or no extra. So you know,
those are code words. Those are dog whistles for those who have those types of beliefs.
My big thing is the paranormal. The Bible is full of the Bible is it's not normal. Like the things that occur in this book is not normal. You know what I'm saying?
You hear people say things like, no man in the sky, no boogeyman, nothing spooky.
No hocus pocus.
No hocus pocus. Those are all keywords where they're telling you they don't believe in Messiah. Right? Well, like whether they say that literally, those are dog whistles.
I asked, my question would be simple. I said, would you believe that the Most High made man from clay?
Right.
Oh, I mean, yeah, the first man. Okay, so you believe that the Most High made a man from dirt. Do you believe that he put him to sleep, took one of his ribs and made woman? Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the word. Okay, so you believe that man came from dirt, and you believe he put him to sleep and performed the very first surgery and made a woman.
Right.
Okay, you believe that. Absolutely. But you can't believe that same power can impregnate a woman.
Could put a seed in.
That's what I was going to say, Coach. I always ask them, I'm like, so you telling me you believe that he can speak this world into existence? Speak it. He said, let there be, and it happened. You telling me he can do that, but he can't do that? Are you? Come on, we're not about to sit here arguing back and forth.
You believe in the Big Bang. You might as well stop fronting and just come out. You believe in the Big Bang. You over there with Phil Nye, the science guy. Come on, just keep it real.
Let me take. Go ahead, sis. When you get done, I'm gonna take a couple.
No, I was gonna say, I'm like Coach Gabor. I just want to take my little cousin here and pull her over, like, girl, but that's her husband, so I gotta like step back, mind my business. I want to pull her, like, girl, get over here. But I can't.
And I saw Coach Antoinette, you had your hand up too. Coach Tania. So I'm gonna read your question and help me understand before I try to answer exactly what you're asking. So you said, is there a difference between the messianic Jew and a Hebrew Israelite? Yes. No, I'm sorry. I'm answering the other question. When you say a messianic Jew, you mean you're asking about the people who predominantly live in Israel right now. They call themselves Jewish, right? And not us, because we refer to ourselves as Jews. even though we say Hebrew Israelite, between each other, when we're, for example, like when I'm talking to my employers, I say I'm a Jew. But I want to be clear, you're asking, is there a difference between those who actually live in Israel, who more than likely come from Khazaria,
The Germans.
the German Jews, the Jewish? Is that what you're asking? You could put a 7 in the chat, or you can come to the mic. It's up to you. Brother, people here, I have relatives that say they are Messianic Jews that look like you and I. Is that what you're saying? Okay, so then I would say that I don't, okay, I can't speak for them because I don't know them. But I believe that we are from the tribe of Judah, and I believe in the Messiah. So technically that would make us Messianic Jews. Is there a difference between us and those people in Israel? Yeah, because they predominantly, first of all, are secular and don't deal with Torah much at all. But those that do, that call themselves Orthodox and Hasidic and all of that, they are more into the Kabbalah than they are the actual Bible.
Most of them most of them don't believe in the Messiah. I think it's a handful of them that do believe in the Messiah, but most of them do not believe in the Messiah.
Yeah, yeah. But as far as us, those who look like you and I, who believe that we are Jews, not just Hebrews, because remember, Hebrews would technically include Abraham, Isaac, as well as Jacob, and then also all the other 11 tribes outside of Judah. So Reuben, Simeon, Levi, all of them also, Naphtali, yeah. And so when we say Jew, what we're saying is, because of what we read and where historically it looks like Judah was dispersed to, we believe that most of us who look like you and I here in America are specifically from the tribe of Judah.
Right. So
But we also are Messianic.
he's saying that Jew is shortened of Judah.
For the tribe of Judah.
So, Judah, J-U,
yes.
Jew,
Yahudah.
J-U.
Yeah.
So, Hebrews always shorten stuff. So, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, does that answer your question? Or if not, let me know. I'll try to cover it. A little bit. Do you want to rephrase your question, or are you good with that? I'm trying, sis.
Let me see if I can help a little bit better. I think pretty much there is a difference, but there isn't a difference. So there's about as much difference between those people that call themselves that look like us, Messianic Jews. There's about as much difference between us and them as us with other groups of brews. So everybody's pretty much interpreted the Bible the way, and I'm sure the way that they think is correct, the way that they think the Most High is showing them how to interpret the Bible. And so for the most part, Hebrews, for the most part, as a whole, are law followers. But there are differences. So you have some Hebrew groups, wherever they may call themselves. We like to call ourselves the body. We just the body of Messiah. We like to call ourselves the body. But you have groups that may call themselves by letters and names. You got the ABC camps. You got ISUPK. You got different camps. All these camps, they have different views. So whereas, they may follow the law, some of them may not believe in the Messiah. Some of them may believe in the Messiah, but they may be against other races. So they may not like Gentiles, or don't You know, they all have different groups. Some of them maybe believe in the Messiah, maybe can tolerate Gentiles, but don't care for Black Hebrew women. I hate to say that, but that's true. You got some groups out who don't believe that they should mate with Hebrew women. They believe they should mate with other women because they say that Hebrew women are, you know, evil. And so you got some groups out who believe that it's evil to eat meat, you know. So I like to say that this is what I'm saying.
Most of them have come out and said they don't believe in Messiah no more.
Yeah, I think people are, I believe Abba Yah is separating people, and people are kind of, what's it called when you end up like connecting with your tribe, you know, like not gyrating. Gelling, what's another one, like?
Conforming, gelling.
People are being attracted to they groups, you know what I'm saying? So you listen to somebody and what resonates with your soul is pretty much what's happening. And so, you know, you got all kinds. And so like before we decided to do this, we just used to sit and just look at the different groups, you know what I'm saying? And it's, you know, that's what I'm saying. So it's about as much difference between us as with any other group. And to help you understand it a little better, just take, for example, Christianity. So you have so many different branches and different sects of Christianity. You got the Ku Klux Klan Christianity, and you got the Knights of the Round Table Christianity. You got the Pope and them Christianity. You got so many. You got Pentecost, Apostolic. You know, you got all these different branches. So it's kind of the same thing with this. You know what I'm saying?
I'm glad she actually said that, because I don't want to lead you to believe at all that first of all Hebrew Israelites believe the same thing.
I know.
And definitely those who call themselves messianic Jews and Hebrew. I guess that's why I say I can't speak for them, who you're talking about specifically, because I don't know them. But as far as just whether we believe we are of the tribe of Judah and also at least say we believe in the Messiah, yes. But yes, there's a lot of nuances because everything she said.
Yeah, there's a lot. Remember I told you the devil is in the details?
Yes, details matter.
Details matter. And so that's when the separation factor comes in. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I pray that was a little better. Akoti Tahisha.
Shabbat shalom.
Hey,
Shabbat shalom.
Okay, so the Messiah, is he like what I have heard, the seed of David?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so this is how I rationalize it, and you can help me. Okay, so yes, I believe in immaculate conception, you know, with Mary, but however, is it possible that, like, who was Mary's parent? Could Mary's father have been related to David somewhere down the line?
Yeah,
which would make her be his seed.
Yes.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So you have two different genealogies of the Messiah's parents, and when I say parents, I mean those who raised him. In the book of Matthew, it gives the genealogy of Joseph, and it says Joseph was reckoned to be his father by law, meaning his legal father, as in who raised him. In the book of Luke, it gives the genealogy of the Messiah, but he gives it through his mother.
Mhm.
And it still goes back to the tribe of Judah.
Yeah.
And so, yes, as Coach Natasha was pointing out, he would still be of the tribe of Judah through his mother,
Mhm.
even though Joseph would not have been his physical father. Here's the other thing. There was a king in Joseph's history, in his lineage, who went by the name of Coniah or Koya. You'll see it written two different ways. Don't worry about it, baby. Have a seat. Don't worry about it. Thank you. Koya or Coniah. This particular king, because of some of the things that went on with his lineage, Yah said would never have a seed sit on the throne again. Think about what I just said.
Not ever.
There's somebody in the lineage, in the physical blood lineage of Joseph, who's related to Coniah or Koya, that the Most High said, this line will never have a physical seed sit on the throne again.
Mhm.
So if Yahusha was of Joseph's physical seed, he could not
He
be
cannot
the
have been
king.
the Messiah. Absolutely.
However, his mother did not have that same king in her lineage. Does that make sense?
No. And you got to know that Abba Yah did it like that on purpose.
On purpose, because you can't do away with prophecy.
Everything the Most High do, he do it so that it's without a shadow of a doubt. It's him.
Yep.
Without a shadow of a doubt. You know?
Yep. We did a study on that. Well, actually, no. Actually, a brother that we know did a study on that, but he sent it to me. I will share that at some point.
That was a good one.
Thank you.
She says she's starting to get it. Hallelujah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Koti said Hebrew Israelite is your bloodline and messianic Jew is a religion. I'm kind of on the fence with that statement, just because, like I say, I would consider myself a messianic Jew, but I don't believe in religion. And I hate to throw another monkey wrench in y'all understanding, but the actual definition of religion, I don't rock with it all. I think that this is our heritage. I think that this book has our customs in it. But if you get an old definition of religion, it is okay. I'm gonna see if we can squeeze this last little bit in here, fam. Can you hear us? Let me get a 7 if you can hear us. Okay, hallelujah.
Yes.
Okay, so the true definition of religion in the older version lets you really see how religion is used to enslave people mentally, because the actual definition has to do with binding, has to do with binding something or someone up.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And so I get what you're saying. I just
There are some, so like, because you remember where she coming from that group of there.
Gabor?
No, that was Coach Joy. That's Coach Gideon.
Oh, that was Coach Gideon.
I
Okay.
think that was Coach Gideon today. There are
comments.
Yeah, there are some who are not of the seed of Jacob, who call themselves Messianic Jews.
Yeah, there are.
So I guess in that case, yeah, you would say that that's
that's your point. I got you.
It's more of a religious thing to them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For them, it's more of a religious thing because they're kind of they're attempting to be grafted in.
You know what? Now that you said that,
Mm-hmm.
you and Coach Gabor, I get it. You know what, Coach Tania, I got a different take on your question. I think I understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you're right. There are those who say they are Jews because they understand
Mm-hmm.
that in order to enter the kingdom, you must be grafted in with Judah. not because they believe their bloodline Judah.
Right, right.
Got you.
But
Yes, there's a difference.
yes.
And to your point though, to their point, who say that, technically they're correct. Technically they're correct. Everybody had to, so look, Israel was divorced. The 10 tribes were divorced. Judah was not divorced, not because Judah was righteous, but because there was a prophesied seed coming through the lineage of Judah that would be the way back into the righteous fellowship, that is Messiah. And so technically they're right. You must be grafted back in, including the 10 tribes. Must be grafted back in. So yes, you must be grafted into and become Judah. I get that. That's correct.
Now, whether or not they nailing it, that's like I said, many calls.
Because most people who say that, even though they're, like I said, they're technically correct, most people who say that still kind of poo-poo the law and say, well, because of Christ or Jesus, I don't have to do this part of the law. Where Messiah clearly said, not one jot nor one tittle. Now, what does that mean? The jot and the tittle is literally the long stroke and the short stroke of the portions that make up a letter in the Hebrew language. And so he said, you can't take away the side of the letter A nor the crossbar of the letter A. You can't take away even a little bit of the law. And anyone who's teaching that you can will be the least of the kingdom. And so those who, most of the time, those who say that are kind of saying, I don't have to do the law, but I'm a Jew, and because I believe in Christ or Jesus, I'm good. Meanwhile, let's go to the opposite end of the spectrum, because we ain't gonna leave nobody out. There are those who say we are bloodline Israelites, who, just as we are discussing, put more faith in the law and their works than they do in the testimony of Messiah. And so what they're saying, these are who we were just talking about. You're not supposed to eat meat. You eat meat when the Nazarenes didn't eat meat. You eating y'all's creation, so you're gonna burn the head, or you're supposed to keep the law. Now that we got some clarification, fam.
And one more thing, there are those who say that, who poo-poo who the true children of Israel is. So there are those who say that, who say they messianic Jews that believe in Messiah, and they may keep the law, but they problem gonna come in accepting who Israel is.
So I would attach those with the who we were just talking about, the messianic Jews. So you're saying you're grafted in, but you're still not acknowledging who the bloodline lineage is. And then, like I say, those who are saying, I'm keeping the law, but I got a question about that Jesus character, or they will even lump Yahusha and Jesus in together facetiously, but you understand what they're doing. Yeah, that's a problem too. You must have the law and the testimony.
To the law, to the witness.
Isaiah and Revelation say the same thing. It says those who are counted as the saints are those who keep the law and have the testimony of Messiah. You must have both, not one or the other. You must understand and have both. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And Judah is the head in this thing. And Levi is also co-aligned with. If I don't get the recording, we may not be recording. Can you still hear us, fam?
Yes.
We're gonna have to wrap it up, fam. It keep booting us off. Which scripture? The one in Revelations?
To the law and to the witness?
No, to the law and to the witness is Isaiah 8 and 20. Revelations 14, I want to say, tells you who the saints are. And so the reason I put those together all the time is because they're saying the same thing. You got one in the so-called Old Testament and one in the so-called New Testament. They're in agreement. And so you can't do away, you can't say that something changed from the Old Testament to the New Testament.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom, y'all. Shabbat Shalom. He looking for the scripture. Can y'all hear us?
Shabbat Shalom.
Okay.
Shabbat shalom.
You looking at you
Shabbat shalom.
Coty, can you text the scriptures that the last couple of scriptures in the group chat?
Yeah. Revelations 14 and 12, Koti Tania. Because I don't think she's in the group chat.
Koti Tania still here?
If one of y'all,
Oh.
yeah, if she's not, one of y'all can send it to her. Revelations 14 and 12. And Isaiah 8 and 20.
She's still here? Cause if she's not still here, I can
Yeah, there it is. I'll read it.
Yeah.
So it's the one that says, Revelation 14, 20. Here is the endurance of the set apart ones, or the saints. And if you read in the KJV, it'll say the saints. So this is the definition of a saint. It says, here is the endurance of the set apart ones, or the saints. Here are those guarding the commands of Elohim and the belief of Yahusha. So, like I say, King James is going to say the saints, and it's going to say, here are those keeping the commandments and the testimony. The commandments and the testimony. And it says another place in Revelations as well. But we're going to get kicked off again, so I don't want to try to. But yeah, it's at least two witnesses. And according to Torah, by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses shall all things be established.
Okay.
Family, we're gonna have to pick this up next time.
Now remember, y'all, we're not gonna go live tomorrow, but y'all will pick it up Friday. Okay. Love y'all.
By the total family, that means good night.
Love you guys.
Wish y'all tomorrow.
I say yes, I'm too blessed to be stressed. Nevertheless, I must confess. Yes, this is Project Wake Up Jacob. On the Sabbath we rest and reflect upon his goodness. Because we are guided by the Ruach Kodesh. Yes, whenever I get dressed, yes, I'm dripping Kodesh fresh.